to be the one to verify that the work has been done. In order for us then to agree on progress in the
Good morning, colleagues, once more. It's 9:05, so we are going to now start with our program. Let me once more say good morning to our esteemed colleagues, students, and distinguished speakers. My name is Ms. Carol Munchu, and I'll be serving as the program coordinator for today's event. On behalf of the Department of Communication Science, we warmly welcome you to the library session with the focus to enhance your research skills, discover library resources, and to support your academic success. So, without wasting any further time, I will call upon our Deputy COD, Dr. Malachi, to come and do the welcome. Dr. Malachi, over to you.
Thank you so much. Ke a o leboga mme Montsho, ke a lotšha, ke a letama, Abusheni. Good morning, colleagues, our students in the Department of Communication Science, as well as the distinguished speakers, as the program director has already alluded to the protocol. I'm very glad that we are having this workshop, particularly for our students, because more often than not, we find our students grappling and in an effort to find credible sources for their studies. As we all know that UNISA is all about student support, student access, and student success, and aspects such as IT support, library, and so on and so forth are the heartbeat of long distance learning for our students, particularly when they start crossing the border to postgraduate studies. I understand that in this workshop, most of our students are enrolled in our postgraduate programs. Sometimes they find it very difficult. I remember yesterday, one student was struggling to find a particular source that was recommended for her assignment. And she asked me, how do I get this source? And I tried to share some sources, some links with her, particularly emphasizing that most of the additional sources are accessible through my UNISA system. However, some students wouldn't understand how to access the appropriate link to access the library resources, because the main purpose of a library, I know we have experts here, is to ensure that students get the sufficient information for their studies, credible information, but fundamentally libraries there to help us to find resources and also to enhance our passion for reading, particularly for lifelong learning. And indeed, universities cannot survive without this heartbeat called library. And in this case, I think our student will have give this particular workshop their full attention to ensure that they acquire all the necessary knowledge and skills to ensure that in the future, when they want to use library database, they move forward without any hassle. And in these few words, I would like to welcome everyone on behalf of the Department of Communication Science. And I also applaud the organizers of this workshop, that it's something that we need, and it should happen regularly. Thank you so much, colleague, and to our esteemed speakers. Feel welcome. Please share the expertise with us, and that will really, really help us moving forward as a department. Thank you so much, Kanimambo.
I love how you said libraries are there to enhance our passion for reading and also to acquire all the skills that students and we also need in our respective academic careers. I would like to call the next colleague, Professor Mula, to come and do the introduction of our first speaker. Dr. Mula, Professor Mula, sorry.
Thank you so much, Ms. Moncho. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our very own personal librarian, Ms. Napai, your go-to person. Please remember that. Ms. Napai is a dedicated, hardworking, and excellent personal librarian. She has been working with us at the Department of Communication Science from 2022 after Mr. Malan retired. She's employed within UNISA from 1988. This shows her vast knowledge and experience thereof. She's also based and assists with other departments at UNISA, such as History, Information Science, Political Science, and the College of Graduate Studies. She holds an Information Science degree from the University of Zululand and an honors in Information Science from our very own UNISA. Her passion lies in serving her students and academic community for many years now. She has vast knowledge and expertise that you as students should engage with and learn to grow from her. She can educate you on the various library services UNISA offers that are field specific to us as communication science. She can guide on search strategies, how to access academic databases and e-resources, and that we really need to read in the ever-challenging times of AI. Academic writing and reading is so important in your journey as a senior postgraduate student at UNISA. Hence, the library should become your best friend. References and tools need order, and she can also help guide you, as you will see in her presentation. We welcome you, Ms. Napai, in educating our students with the library training today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. Mula. You can go on, Ms. Napai.
Thanks, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. As I am already being introduced, I'm just going to take you through some of our resources, but I would want to do a lot of practicals and just demonstrate how you're going to help yourself. At UNISA, we have what we call personal librarians. We are actually subject librarians because we are assigned to different subjects. So I'm the subject librarian for this department, and my responsibilities are for all the postgraduate students, and not that I can't service the undergraduate students, but my main mandate is to make sure that we have an output through our postgraduate students. So I'm just going to share my screen with you and then go through a little bit of what I've prepared, but I'm going to go live. and just showcase the library vast resources and how you can assist yourself with my help, of course. I do a lot of these kinds of training, but I'm also responsible also for one-on-ones, because I know some of the students would want to have a one-on-one training. Program Director, can you just give me sharing rights? Sorry about that. Do I have sharing rights? Yes, I do. Okay. So this is what I'm going to showcase this morning. As a librarian for this department, what are my roles? I'm here to journey with you in your research journey. As a postgraduate student, I do a lot of one-on-ones training besides group trainings. My service to all the postgraduate students include assisting you with your navigation of the library system and any other questions that you may have library related, and to showcase some of our vast resources that will assist you in your research journey. What I want to emphasize actually is that in all the engagement that you are going to have with the library, everything that you're going to interact with, whether it's e-books, online journals, thesis and dissertations, anything through your journey in the library, whether you want to make a request from the library, what is key is that you have to authenticate yourself. How do you do that? In any of the links that you're going to go through, the library system will require your authentication, that is your login details. It's because we pay a lot of money for all these resources. We just want to make sure that these are only meant for our own, whether these are the academics or some of our researchers and even our students. So your authentication, especially with the new students, they tend to get confused when they have to log in. You are going to log in. Your username will be your student number and your MyUNISA password. And please don't use, when you go to the university's website under your My Modules, the library doesn't have a presence there. So you must just click on the link to the library. I'll show you how you're going to go through that. So your authentication is very important to us, whether you want to open an e-journal or whether you want to open an e-book, whether you want to request anything from us. We want you as a student to verify yourself with your student number and your MyUNISA password. Please don't use your student number followed by @MyLife. That we don't need. We just need your student number. And for the past 3-4 years, we've been we know that we have a list of vast number of databases, and our students, if you're not used to them, you get confused. We have come up with what we call library guides, which are subject specific. Those library guides, if you go to a link on the library's homepage and you go under library guides, you can find your communication science library guide, where I have actually tried to infuse and put things together for you. But we have realized that in those library guides, you have to search databases, some of our e-resources, even for e-books individually, so one at a time. So we have come up with what we call Salmon Discovery Tool. This is a tool where we have infused, or we have just put all our big databases, be it for thesis and dissertations, for e-books, for journal articles, for newspaper articles, all in one space, so that when you search from your Salmon Discovery Tool, which I'm going to demonstrate, you are able to come up with a multidisciplinary search strategy where you can search across our databases instead of searching one at a time. Can you please mute, please? So I'm going to demonstrate someone. Hello, please mute.
You can unmute Hlazipi. Ms. Napai, I don't think we can hear you from our side.
Yeah.
Now we can hear you.
I've been talking to myself.
Yes, sorry about that.
Sorry about that. Okay, so this is my layout. This is what I'm going to be talking about. As a personal librarian, I said I'm going to walk with you in your journey of your research. I'm responsible for all the postgraduate students. And it's key that with any of your interaction with the library, you are going to have to authenticate yourself, because we want to know whether you are legitimately registered with us, because we pay a lot of money for all these resources, but they are all available for your usage. So your authentication will be your student number without @MyLife, just your student number and your MyUNISA password. And just take note that the library doesn't have a presence on your MyUNISA page. So you have to go to the link of the library as you enter the university's website to get to the library's vast resources. We have since, because we at UNISA have, as subject librarians, we realize that our students tend to be everywhere. We came up with what we call library guides, where we have put things together. I'll show you where you can find your library guide under communication science. It's a list of library guides under subject areas, but there are generic ones as well that you can use at your leisure time. And we have more than 500 databases, but seeing that our students will have to search a database at a time, we have now introduced what we call Salmon Discovery Tool, which I'm going to demonstrate to you, where we have put together all these big databases so that you can search across databases instead of searching one at a time. And I'm going to actually show you, as much as we don't want you to go to Google, but we have a way, knowing that most of our researchers and even our students do go to Google Scholar. We have come up with a way where we can insert the library resources into our Google Scholar, but you have to change the settings and just tell Google Scholar, whatever you are doing, please just give me what my institution, what my UNISA library has in full text or PDF document. I'm going to demonstrate that one. And we have a lot of research methodology databases. I will show you where to find one of our big ones, which is called Sage Research Methods Online, which is a database that is all the people in, all the experts in methodologies are contributing to. So all your gurus in methodologies will it's been brought up by those people that are expert in methodologies, any type of methodologies. And what we also have, we subscribe to what we call RefWorks, which is it's a reference management tool. So while you are working on these databases, instead of sending everything to your email, you can just create an account where you can have what we call your library of references, instead of having a piece of paper or a notebook where you document all your references, and at the end of the day, start typing them. This tool will enable you to create a bibliography automatically, but then you have to select your referencing style. So you must be in touch with your supervisor or the department and ask what is their referencing styles, because different departments use different styles. Some departments, I know in the social sciences, they use a lot of APA, but there are departments that use Harvard. So make sure that you use a style in consultation with your supervisor, and RefWorks has got a lot of referencing styles. But before you even send your references there, you have to choose a proper referencing style. So if I have a moment, I'll just quickly show you. And for those of you who are in a PhD level, eventually you'll have to publish 1 or 2 articles with your supervisor, and I'm also there to assist with a choice of your journal types, and just to alert you of all the predatory journals that are out there. But obviously you will be working with your supervisor. So if you were to borrow some of our print books, because there will be some of the print books that are recommended for you instead of ebooks, which are available online. So whether you are honors, masters, or doctoral students, you can take out 16 print books at a time. And the library has a link on the services of all the postgraduate students. And then you can tell the system whether you want the book to be sent to your branch. We have a branch locator link on the library system where you can say, you know, I want this print book, please send it to Polokwane, or send it to Durban branch, or send it to Cape Town branch. We have a branch for you to go and pick it up there. And those books can be kept for 42 days unless there's a recall. If someone has requested a book, please bring it back on time within a 7-day period. If you don't bring it back, we're going to start charging you, and it's 5 rand per item if you don't return it on time. And you may think this is it's a small change, but it will accumulate, and it will, you know, affect your re-registration, because as a master's and doctoral students, you have to re-register on a yearly basis. So if you don't bring the library books on time, we're going to impose a fine, which will eventually affect your re-registration, because our library system and the registration system, they talk to one another. So if you don't tell us when you request a print book where to send that book, we're going to use your registration address that you have used. If, for instance, you were in Polokwane, you're working in Joburg, we're going to send that book to Polokwane. So it's as well that you must tell us where to send the book, because when you pick them up at our branches, you don't have to incur any cost. You can even return them there. So our requests and renewals are all online, unless you walk into any of our branches where you can pick up a book from the shelf. So this is the library's homepage. When you go to the university page, you click on that link. It takes you to the library homepage. There are services for all the postgraduate students. If you haven't seen this link, please go and orientate yourself what is there for you. When you click on it, it will give you this page where you can just go and read about the branches and their opening hours. You know, and we have another unit where you can request the literature list for whatever topic you are working on. But that unit actually services the entire university. So the waiting period is key. You either try to do things for yourself, or you consult me so that I can assist you. So go and engage with this link. This is where you go and check for your library guides. This is the catalog search if you want to look for print books. And this is where you go for your library guide. It's an alphabetical list. You go to your communication science, or you go and find e-resources where you find our more than 500 databases. So this is your library guide. It has all kinds of tabs, and each tab has its kind of information for articles. If you want to search articles, when you click on it, it will give you a list of those databases. It's a selective list, but we have vast databases. That's why Summon will serve you well, because you'll be searching across databases. And we have also a research support tab where you'll find that database, the SAGE Research Methods Online. So when you click on your referencing tab on the guide, it brings you to the reference management tool, which is RefWorks. Those of you who don't have an account, you can go and create an account, or you can just, if you have an account, you can just log in there. So under the research support tab on your guide, you come to this page. This is your SAGE Research Methods Online. It's got different tools. It's got ebooks, it's got e-references, it's got videos, it's got podcasts, it's got everything. So this is our pride as a library. And if you're not sure about any of the methodologies, it's got a methods map where it maps the methodologies for you. So it's also, you can browse according to your own subject area, and it will give you ebooks, videos, little clips of videos where one of the gurus will tell you how to conduct a literature review, how to approach a certain methodology. So go and check it out. And I'm just going to go live now. Ma'am, do I still have time for live?
Yes, you still have time. You still have 15 minutes.
For 15 minutes?
Yes, you still have 15 minutes left, ma'am.
Okay, I'll do so. Okay, so this is the library's homepage. So when you come from the main university page, I said you click here, you come to this page, and where you want to go and do the catalog search. For instance, if you have a seminal works which are still in print, you'll obviously go to the catalog, and this is where you go to your library guide. It's an alphabetical list. I'm not going to go there. You go for your communication, you get that guide, and then you go to the research support where you find the SAGE Research Methods Online. Go and browse there if you are interested in any of the methodology sections that you are working on. But even on the catalog, you can still also search for research methodology, and then you can say, and communication science. You'll find a lot of books, whether they are in e or in print, on methodologies. But what I want to demonstrate is that I want to search from here where I can say I'm looking for organizational communication theory and research. Remember, we in the library speak, we use what we call Boolean operators, which are your AND if you want to connect words, and if you want to discard words, you can say not, and you say I don't need. Let's say you're doing feminism, and then you can say not whatever. You don't want that. So, or you can use an or, and all of these should be in capital letters. In my library speak, those are your Boolean operators. Your AND will be used to connect with. So I'm looking for organizational communication theory, but with research as part of this. So this is my Summon discovery tool search, where I said you searching across databases. So it's a nice way to start with your research. You go and search through vast areas of, look, we have more than a million. But what is nice with this is that it's got all kinds of filters. So you can filter according to whatever you want. If you want to start with journal articles in your research, you can do that. If you want to look at the thesis, if you want to look at newspaper articles on this particular topic, you can do that as well. If you want to look at ebooks first, and you can just make your own filter. You can filter according to your individual needs. So I'll start with journal articles, and I'll tell the system I'm looking for 5 years ago, And then what is nice, it also gives you your discipline. So you can choose your own discipline, and you are probably, you load more for, and unfortunately I'm in library and information science space, and you will be under, I think it's journalism and communication. That's how it's worded here. So you fall under this discipline, and you can say, you can tell the system the terms that you need your articles to have, and you select all the terms that you would want in this particular topic. So you filter according to your own needs, but finally you should also filter according to the language that you can read, because these are international databases and they come in different languages. So of course you'll read English and then you close this, and from that 1 million, it's still a huge search. But despite this, you limit this search according to your own needs until you arrive at a manageable number. And what I want to emphasize here is that all these articles that I've selected here, they are all ranked according to relevance. In all our databases, your top articles, your top ebooks will always be relevant. So what do you do with this kind of a search? You'll see most of them, they come in PDF format, they are full text, and all of them you'll find full text. So there's a quick look before you even go and select whatever this article. You will have an abstract where you can go to quick look and read an abstract and make an informed decision before you select this. So you start selecting by using this as a folder. You have this one, it's empty. You click here to select, you click on the second one, you go through the list, you select as many articles as you need. These are not like ebooks. Ebooks, you can maybe save an ebook, the link, or you can even save them, but you can't print or download the entire book. With articles, you can download as many as you want because we've already paid for that. Once you've done that, you go to your saved items. Instead of sending all of this to your email, to clutter your email, because when they are on your email, you still have to do something. So what is nice with all of these databases, you can export to your RefWorks. There is also an option for you to register for EndNote, but then you have to contact me so that I can give you a link. Then our ICT will give you access to EndNote. But I would recommend that you use RefWorks, because EndNote, it used to be used by the science people, but because the license is not being used by all the students in the science, they are now opening it up for anyone. So you send this to your RefWorks account, where is your library of references. But then you have to have an account. You must create an account before you can do that. I see I've got almost about 5 minutes. So RefWorks, it's another training. You can either ask a one-on-one, or we can do a group training. It's intense because I need to show you how it looks like, how you're going to use it. It's got what we call RefWorks Citation Manager. It will assist you when you do your writing, where you can go and call up your references, and you can do your in-text citation automatically, so, and it creates a bibliography for you. When you're done with your in-text citation, you say create bibliography. It just drops your bibliography at the end of your chapter, and you can have references sent to your RefWorks, where you can have folders for different chapters that you are working on. So I'm not going to go there. What I want to do finally is to show you how you're going to do the settings on Google Scholar. As much as we pay a lot of money for all of this, I know you are bound to use Google Scholar. So for us to be able to draw you back to us as a library, we have done the settings. So I want to show you how you're going to do that. Let me just open my Google Scholar quickly. And on the A to Z list, there's a there's a SADC region database, which is very interesting, which is called Sabinet African Journals. This is where you'll find a load of local content, Africa-related material. It's a SADC region database. When you click on it, it's under S. It's called Sabinet African Journals. If your topic has a slant, it's looking on South African issues, you can go and search also here. But I'm not going to demonstrate this one. I just want to point it out to you. I'm going to open my Google Scholar so that I can indicate to you how are you going to do the settings on Google Scholar. So like I said, as much as we want to win you from using Google, we can allow you to use Google Scholar. So on your left-hand panel here, you have these 3 lines. I don't know what they are called. So you go to your settings. It opens a page like this, and you tell Google Scholar that you want whatever you are doing in this platform to have your library links to tell you whether your library subscribed to this particular article and it's available as a full text in PDF format. So I'm going to you just type in University of South Africa in small letters, and in brackets you should say UNISA Library, because there is another University of South Africa in Australia, Melbourne. So if you don't qualify this with UNISA Library, it won't recognize your settings. So you do this and you save. So if I were to search for any information technology, whatever topic that I'm searching, and I want to get articles on this, this is where your settings work. You can see that this is not a good example. I just want to do information technology and knowledge management. So it says to me, this book, it's an old book, you don't have it in a PDF format, but some of the articles on this page, it gives me all of this. So initially, when you haven't had your settings done, you will come across a lot of interesting articles, but it doesn't give you PDFs. But now that you've set your settings, you can even say, from when to when. It gives you all of this. And what is nice with this, on your RefWorks, you have what we call an extension called Save to RefWorks. So this extension, it's an add-on on RefWorks. You have to just pull it and put it on any of the browsers that you are using, so that when you work on your Google Scholar or on any of the open access platforms, your free pages, where you guys are working a lot with organizational information, you're working with some of the company policy documents. If you have your RefWorks and you have the Save to RefWorks on any of your browsers, it allows you, when you work on these platforms, to do this like on Google Scholar. You'll get all of this, and this is an interesting article. I want to use this article, and it's available in my library. I can download it as a PDF. If I have my Save to RefWorks, I will click on my Save to RefWorks as my add-in, and it will allow all of these to be sent to my RefWorks account. Remember, I said your RefWorks, it's your library of references. So it allows you to make a selection. So I'll have to log in first on my RefWorks. And once I'm logged in, it will give me an option to select several of these articles from Google Scholar. This is how your RefWorks will look like, but we're not going to do that. It takes all of this and puts it here, so that I'm able to say, I want this one, I want that one, and I can save it to my RefWorks. And finally, when you have to work on your Word document, if you have a RefWorks account, you will have a Word document, and it will, the ones that have your Windows 10, it usually comes with this icon here, where it says RCM. This, when you click on it, It's your RefWorks Citation Manager, but you can also add it in. It can be an add-in. On your add-in, if I go home, there where you have to add something, you can go and do your add-ins and add your RCM, which is your RefWorks Citation Manager, where it will allow you, when you click on it, it will allow you to pull your RefWorks onto your document, where you can go now and do your in-text citation. But I'm not going to demonstrate this because we don't have enough time for that. This,
Ms. Kazipi, no, you can demonstrate that. We'll just give you extra 5 minutes.
okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Remember, I said to you, you need to have an account with RefWorks. And you once you have an account, your RefWorks will look like this. On your RefWorks, you will have different folders. You can group your references in folders. And as you're working through your thesis or dissertation, you can also get rid of duplicates because you'll be working across databases. And you can add some of the references that you didn't export or import online. It allows you to add, for instance, you can add a Word document where you have listed all your references. It will also allow you to add other files. For instance, if you have a list of references on your PDF document, and you can drop and drag some of the PDF documents here. And you can create it manually as well. For instance, if you've used a print book, which you couldn't export to RefWorks, it opens a page where it says, is this a chapter of a book? Is this a thesis? And then it will give you a form which you can complete all the types of information. But what I want to point out here is that under the tools, remember I said there are extensions. Quickly, I want to show you where you're going to find your Save to RefWorks. This is your install your Save to RefWorks. Mine is already there. You just click on it and you pull it to your browser. Then it install it on your browser. Another one, it's your install RCM from Microsoft Word. If you don't have it, you go and install it as an add-in. But on RefWorks, there's lots of videos and tutorials which you can go through. Now that I've got this account, what do I do? It will show you how you can export and import and how you manipulate your work. What is key on RefWorks as well is that you must now go and select you must create a citation style. So anything that you send here, it either is it's APA, Harvard, Chicago, whatever style that you want to choose, so that when you create the bibliography, for instance, if I say create this bibliography of the recently sent items here, it will create for you in this particular format. This is APA, the SAMS APA. There's lots of styles. It has more than 7,000 styles, but you and your supervisor will talk on the kind of style you can select, so that when you start selecting any of the styles, you are able to use that particular style. And there are other departments, like other colleges with different styles. If you What is nice with RefWorks, it would allow you to change your style. For instance, the PhD students who are going to publish, some of the publishers will be requiring different styles. So you are allowed to change styles as you go along. You can see this is different from the previous APA one. Okay, but what I want to demonstrate to you is that Word document now that you've opened. So I've called you click here, it calls up this. You just have to go and put your cursor where you want to acknowledge, because you are the researcher. You would know if this phrase comes from this particular reference. You just click on the reference there and it jumps here. So what you should do when you want to put page numbers, you must edit it from here. Don't put page numbers on your document, because when you create a bibliography, it's going to disappear. So you edit here where you'll have a prefix or you'll have a suffix, depending on your style of references. So if it's a prefix, you'll put it as a prefix, because other styles, they just put pages, or others are putting a P full stop. You have to go according to that particular style of doing a prefix or a suffix. You add it from here. So if I say insert, it jumps there. Can you see where it is? And then I go and just go through all my referencing, and then I say insert, and then it jumps there. I'll do just one more because time is not on our side. I'll select the reference and then insert. If I wanted to put page numbers, I will edit manually because I'm the researcher. I know where this phrase comes from, but I'm not going to do pages here. I just want to show you how wonderful this tool is. So now that I'm done with that, I go to these 3 lines and then just check if my bibliography is on or off. So my bibliography should always be off when I do my in-text citation. When I switch it on, it now puts all my references at the bottom of whatever I'm working on. So this is done for you automatically. You just do your in-text citation as you're doing your write-up. At the end of your inserting all of those in-text citations, you've edited your pages accordingly. You just go and switch on your bibliography, and then it sends it at the tail, at the bottom of your work. Whether it's a chapter or it's a proposal, it's doing it for you on that particular style that you have selected. So it's a very nice tool. So those of you who don't have an account, go and register. I think, ma'am, I'm going to stop here, and then I'll answer whatever questions that will come through.
Thank you so much, Ms. Napai, for such an insightful presentation. Students, we do notice your questions on the chat. However, we will take questions at the end of the session. Thank you so much, Ms. Napai. I'm going to introduce the next speaker. Prof, please do. I apologize before I even try and mention your surname, but I will try and do justice to it. So the next speaker will be Prof. Sumay van Antwerpen, who is an associate professor at UNISA's College of Economic and Management Sciences with 35 years of academic experience. She holds a national diploma in executive secretary, BTech in information management, NHOD in post-school education, MTech in office management and technology, and also a BTech in business administration. Prof. Sumay has authored peer-reviewed articles, book chapters, and reviews for scientific journals. She supervises postgraduate candidates, serves as an external examiner, and also conducts workshops. Her expertise include intellectual capital and administrative management. Over to you, Prof. Sumay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you for all the for the audience. Thank you for being here. I'm just going to warn you that I have a limited time available. I am conducting similar workshops, and I normally have 2 hours. So it's going to sound like Kyalami. You will get the presentation afterwards. So yes, I'm going to talk very fast. If you have questions, post it in the chat, and we'll deal with that later on. If you can just let me know if you can see the presentation.
We can see it, Prof. Thank you.
Thank you. Right. Academic skills writing. Okay, what is academic skills writing? It is a formal style of writing used in universities and scholarly publications like journal articles, for example. When we write an essay, research paper, proposal, thesis, or dissertation, you have to use academic style. You might have seen that your supervisor or your lecturer give you feedback and say academic style. That is because you are not using a formal tone. Now, what is content in an academic document? The message must be clear, it must be concise, It must be focused and structured. Now, all of those must be backed up by evidence, that is by journal articles, books, anything that you cite. Now, let's just quickly look at the characteristics. Planned and focus. You need to answer the question of your study and demonstrate that you know what you are talking about. Structured, it must be coherent, everything must be in a logical order, and it must convey the message that you would like to share with your audience. Now, who's the audience? It's your supervisors, it's other researchers in the scholarly domain, and other authors that read your work. Evidence, everything that you put on paper must be supported by other research or literature, and remember to reference that in an accurate manner. Formal in tone and style, you need to use the appropriate language and tenses. Now, the majority of us, English is not our first language, so we struggle with tenses. When you write a proposal, it must be in future tense, but some of the chapters in your document must be in past tense. So just have a look at that. Okay, academic writing is a question rather than a function. It must sound clear. You must have logical arguments. You must check your grammar, correctly citing, and use the correct format. Now, your supervisor will guide you on the correct format. Right, academic writing is formal and unbiased. So if, for example, you are working in the Department of Health and you see the administrative people are not acting ethically, you can't say that from your own experience. It must be backed up by literature. It must be clear and precise. It must be focused and well-structured, well-sourced, well-referenced, that's what I mean here, correct and consistent. It is not personal, not your own opinion. Long-winded, if we want to go to Polokwane, we use the shortest route to get to Polokwane. You are not going to drive to Durban and then go to Polokwane. It must not be emotive and grandiose. You must not sugarcoat content. Short sentences, and it must be to the point. Now, what is writing process? It is reading and research. So you are going to read a lot of information. You heard that from the library presentation. There's a lot of journal articles and books available. Make sure that you read wide. You must plan what you want to write down, and you must create an outline. Then you draft the document, you revise it several times. Then you edit the content, you proofread it, and then you do your final submission. It means that you are going to revise constantly. Now, why does it matter? It helps students to communicate ideas clearly and professionally. Remember, this is a scholarly document that you are busy with. Research, then demonstrate critical thinking and your ability to be analytical. You must contribute to the academic and professional knowledge. That's the scholarly body of knowledge. And you must build credibility and academic integrity. Prepare for postgraduate research and publication. Now, the structure I've mentioned earlier about the logic flow. What I mean by that, if you look at a chapter, for example, you will have an introduction, then you will have the text and a conclusion. So that is for different chapters, the same as for a proposal, introduction, the body of the proposal, and then the conclusion. It must be coherent and cohesion. Paragraphs should build on the previous one. I have a slide on this, which I'll demonstrate that to you. Using topic sentences and transitions help maintain a coherent flow and ideas. And then you heard in the previous discussion about the different referencing. Harvard mainly used, and then APA in disciplines like industrial psychology and human resource management. So ask your supervisor which referencing style must be used. What is critical thinking and analysis? That is engagement with the literature. Remember that you can't put anything on paper that you don't understand. That is what I said in one of the previous slides, that you must refine, you must rework until it is making sense and it is of a high quality. You must be able to analyze and interpret all the components. It must be original. You should contribute new ideas or perspectives, reflecting deep understanding and insight. Argumentation and evidence. What is balanced arguments? You are presenting and addressing counter arguments that strengthen the overall argument. Example, if I say the tree has got green leaves, I say that. Prof van Antwerpen is saying that. But Prof Dube says it's got green leaves, but there is a bit of brown leaves as well. That is a counter argument. Use evidence. All your arguments must be supported by references. Don't put your own opinion, especially not if you are not on PhD level. Formal tone academic writing at this level should be colloquialisms, contradictions, or overly causal language. Disciplinary language, it depends on your field of study. Be careful of certain jargons that whatever you put on paper or on your laptop or digitally must make sense, and it must be backed up by evidence. Citations, that is extremely important. You need to give credit to the previous researchers who published information, and I've got another slide on plagiarism as well. Then postgraduate writing often involves extensive referencing. Don't reference only one author. Add more authors that say the same thing that relates to what you've mentioned. Paraphrasing and quotations, I'm going to deal with that later as well. Encouraging students to paraphrase. Now, what I always tell my students is read articles. Highlight the key information. Then you put it on paper in your own words. That's how we paraphrase. There are a lot of digital tools to help you to paraphrase, but very often Turnitin picks it up as plagiarism. So just be careful, and sometimes the meaning gets lost. Right. What I mentioned is multiple drafts. Good writing involves multiple drafts and revisions. We will encourage you to refine your work for clarity, grammar, and logical consistency. Peer review, ask some of the students in your study group, if you have one or belong to one, to read your information. Ask your spouse, ask your boyfriend or your girlfriend to read it through to make sure that it makes sense. Time management, it's extremely important. You need to plan when you do your outlining. You should create a detailed outline for your arguments. My students must do mind maps, and then I check the mind maps to make sure that it makes sense and that there is a logical flow. Postgraduate students should be aware that academic writing is an iterative process. It involves research, drafting, revision, and proofreading. Now, what is the difference between descriptive and critical writing? Descriptive means it explains what happened, it reports on information, it summarizes the sources, the references, it lists facts and limits insights. There's an example. Smith in 2024 identified 3 leadership styles. So that is descriptive. If we refer to critical, it evaluates and analyzes, interpret information, compare viewpoints, build arguments, demonstrate deep understanding. There is an example. Although Smith in 2024 identified 3 leadership styles, the model does not fully address leadership styles in digital environments. Can you see that that is more critical? Now, if we look at styles and sentences, if you look at the first bullet there, don't use words like don't with an apostrophe, can't, couldn't. Write it out in full. Avoid strong adjectives like huge and excellent. There is a lot of examples. I haven't included it here due to time restraints. Constraints, be specific. Do not soften it with words like actually and really. That is not part of academic writing. Words like however, nevertheless, and although add value. Avoid the word also and addition. Rather use furthermore and moreover. Then avoid sweeping statements and be careful of that. And then also don't be too strict or rigid with what you are writing. Don't overuse the term. Don't say Smith indicates, Dube indicates, Van Rensburg indicates. Don't use the same verb all over and over again in the same paragraph. Also, be careful of repetition and duplication. That's why you need an outline and you need to prepare of what should be in a paragraph. Sentences mustn't be too long. Don't ramble one idea per sentence. And also, in general, paragraphs shouldn't be too short. A paragraph not supposed to consist of one sentence, one or two sentences. Multiple authors, I have been requested to do with you referencing. I am going to do it with you. The first time you are referring to multiple authors, in this case, it's Mabona, Green, and Nyker, you list all of the authors. In the second instance, from that point onwards, you say Mabona, the first author, and replace that with the Latin words et al. Remember, et al. Ends with a full stop. Do not start a sentence or a paragraph with a numeric number. 9 participants, that's incorrect. 9 should be in words. Then shorter sentence, make your work easier to understand. Remove clutter words and then number subheadings. I'm going to show you how that should be done as well. Okay, the style of a paragraph. It must start with a lead sentence. That is a punch line. That must draw the attention of the reader to what exactly the paragraph is about. Make an argument. We use the following pattern: assertion, evidence, agreement, affirmation, and then a discussion. That's how our argument should be constructed. Sorry. Then mention my apologies, contradictory beliefs and counter arguments. If everything is positive, examiners do not find that credible. So not all authors can say the same thing. There must be contradictory information. Font style must be formal. We use normally Arial or Times New Roman. It depends. Ask that from your supervisor. Avoid long sentences. I've mentioned that already. Then fourth number of heading numbering. You can see that this is first level, second, third, and fourth. We prefer that our students don't go to fourth and beyond fourth. So stick to 3 or maybe 4, but remember it's going to appear in your table of content. Then it doesn't look that neat at all. Also, just have a look. It's 3.5.2.2. The last number doesn't have a full stop, so you must change the settings. The first subheading or main heading is in capital letters bold. Subheading is in bold and lowercase. Subheading is in bold, lowercase, and italics. And then a subheading must be in italics. If you look at the screen, you will see that only the main paragraph number has got a full stop. The rest doesn't have at all. Okay. Also, make your headings as short as possible because long headings doesn't look that great in your table of content. Then I've mentioned about the lengthy headings. Then tables and figures. Always remember that a table and a figure must be introduced before you place it in your document. So you must, before the table, say table 1.1 deals with X, Y, and Z. Now in your proposal, you are going to have table 1, 2, 3, and 4. But in your chapters, when you are busy with your dissertation or your thesis, the tables and the figures and the headers will be indicated by the chapter heading. If I'm busy with chapter 5, it will be table 5.1, 5.2. If I am busy with chapter 2, it's figure 2.1 and 2.2. Tables and figures, it is used to present information. It is sometimes easier to look at an illustration or a figure or a table. It's easier to summarize your information. You can't just put in a table or a figure without explaining it. So you put it, and then below the figure or the table, just give 2 sentences to explain to the reader what that is about. Table headings above the table, figure labels below the figure. Here is an example. I said table 1.1 presents information about the population. There is the heading, table 1.1, so you can see clearly that this is from table page 1, and then always put your reference below. Then example of a figure, I introduce the figure, then I put the figure, and the figure label must be below the figure, and it's from Stats SA in 2025. Here is just another example. I indicate that it is the Research Onion model. It's from Saunders et al. 2019. Here I explain it. Here it is introduced. Consistency in styles. If you use bullets, use the same type of bullet throughout your document. Don't use different styles of bullets. It is not a fruit salad, it's an academic document. Also, I've mentioned that, okay, what I didn't mention is that you can use the first person, we and I, but we prefer to use the third person, like the researcher surveyed. It just sounds more professional. Spelling and terms, remember that we use the UK dictionary or the South African dictionary and not the American dictionary. No Z's. It must be S, like organized. For example, the word color. You can see that in the American dictionary, they omit the U, like in behavior and color. We include the U, so please do your settings from the beginning correct. Tenses. Discuss points from literature in present tense, like Scott points out. PQR is characterized by. Tambo claims that. Then events that occurred previously and reported on. A study was conducted. Look at the references by Chen and Shi. And then Mkhize found. So make sure about the tenses. I know it's a bit confusing. Then use past tense when you discuss your research. If you collected data, you discuss the data in the past tense. Be consistent with the same. If you do your proposal, it must be in future tense, but if you convert it to your proposal or to your chapter 1, just make sure it's not the future tense anymore. Then make sure about the plural and the singular. I agree, you agree, he, she agrees, they agree. Participant agrees, participants agree. Dog obeys, dog obey. Dogs obey, sorry. Then Scott et al. Hold the view. So remember, it's multiple authors. Evidence has found, evidence have been found, and then data at the end can be singular or plural. So that is both accepted. Hyphens. If it is used as an adjective, we use the hyphen. If not, if it's a noun, you use it without the hyphen. So just look at that as well and use it consistently throughout your document. Right, I'm just going to go over this quite very fast. Start each chapter with an introduction, what the chapter is about. In the previous chapter, you need to, in your conclusion, announce the following chapter. In the following chapter, you need to link it with a golden thread to the previous chapter. Right. Then I just have more examples. You are going to get the presentation due to limited time. You can go through this on your own. Right. Each chapter should end with a conclusion or a summary. It depends on what your supervisor wants. Explain the role of a chapter. I have indicated that. Remember, in your summary or conclusions, you are not allowed to reflect on new information or literature. You must reflect on what happened in the chapter. So no new references, no new citations or information. Referencing and citations. In this case, the sentence starts with, in a field study by Bakker and Smith. Can you see that it is in words, in text, and then the year of publication is between brackets. So the sentence, in the beginning of the sentence, we refer to the author. In this case, I use not the ampersand, but the word and. Now I want you to have a look at this. The Lackaby bird can fly backwards in cold conditions. Now the reference is at the end of a sentence. This is in APA, where you use the and in full, and this is Harvard, where you use the ampersand. Depending on the journal, and also benchmark that with your supervisors. This is just another example. For a PhD study, only cite original sources as references. For a master's degree, secondary referencing is okay, but not ideal. So for example, in a study X, Y, and Z, Hollard in 2025, cited by Klein in 2023. Also make sure that your references are not older than 5 years. If you use seminal work like Masrow's hierarchy or any information like that, or Herzberg's two-way theory, you need to use the original date in which it was published initially. Here is just another example where the reference is between parentheses or brackets, and here it is part of the sentence. This is in the next sentence. I've indicated the date here. Here, you don't have to repeat the date again because it links to this sentence again. Page numbers, when you use direct quotes, you need to insert a page number. That is content that you directly take from the source. My advice to you is to limit that to the minimum. Rather paraphrase content. That's why you revise consistently. Referencing and citations. I've indicated from 2020 to 2026. Then it's almost 6 years. Seminal work, you need to use the original date in when that specific theory has been published and the original source as well. Also, don't throw away or delete your books, your e-books or your journal articles, because you might have to refer back to that as well. Then just verbs for you. You can have a look at that when you look at the presentations. This is descriptive verbs that you can choose from, analytical and evaluative. Acronyms. When you use an acronym for the first time, in this case, I've got Democratic Republic of the Congo. You present it in full with the acronym between brackets. And from that point onwards, you can then use the acronym. So then you have presented that already. Present a list of acronyms in the front. Then words or numbers from 1 to 9, you must use it in text. From 10 and onwards, you must use it in full. The same with the percentage. If it is part of a sentence, you write 5% or 45%, sorry, and then 45 between brackets. If you use the same style, or if you use the sign, you must use that throughout. If you use the percentage sign, you must use that in words. Participants and gender, stay away from referring to his or hers, rather say they. It is just more professional. And then in quantitative studies, you refer to the people who participate in the study as respondents, qualitative study participants. Here is just words for you. Again, neutral verbs, stronger verbs and inference verbs. Literature study, integrate sources in your literature study. You need to integrate them in a specific theme. Make sure that your paragraph is logic, as I mentioned earlier. Avoid a series of paragraphs, rather devote that to it, or where you only cite one author. Still on literature study, it's important in a literature review to refer not only to definitions and key concepts, but discuss related work as well. So provide a few definitions and then related work as well. Then don't put your own opinions. You need to back it up by literature. Still literature studies. There might be a section that is dedicated to discussion where you can approach several information. When you use journal articles, their findings, it is referred to as secondary data. When you collect your data yourself, it is primary data. Just remember that as well. The golden thread from the first word of your study to the last word, it must form a story. Okay, when you submit your proposal or a draft of a chapter, don't wait for your supervisor to give you feedback. Continue to the next section of your study. Okay, it is sometimes very difficult to get feedback from your supervisor. You might feel as if you are not good enough or your work is not good enough. Remember, we as supervisors are there to guide you. We need you to recheck and reread your work, and you must be able to critique that. Submitting, okay. If I find that there is 5 spelling errors in the first section of a document, I send it back to the student because they can use Grammarly, they can use name it to make sure that there is not spelling mistakes. So that is something that is not acceptable at all. The draft, you mustn't have excessive numbers of spelling mistakes. Yes, your document will be language edited at the end before you do your final submission. But remember, it is a very expensive exercise. Language editing, you can budget 10,000 and upwards for language editing. That is what I indicated here. Reread a document a few days after you completed it. Look for obvious errors, check the language, look at the structure, and pretend as you are someone reading it for the first time. Look at content. Shouldn't it be inserted or included in another paragraph, for example? If there is similar issues, join them, combine them. If there is links and relationships between sentences and sections, make sure that it's clear. Use the same terminology throughout. Okay, I've mentioned about a lead sentence. That is in a paragraph, there must be a lead sentence to attract the reader to what you want to say. It must catch the attention of the reader, the audience, which is your supervisor other scholars and researchers worldwide. Reread in sentences, make sure that it is logic. Keep it short. If we read sentences that is too long, the meaning gets lost. We don't know exactly what the message is that you are trying to convey. Then at postgraduate level, students are expected to formulate viewpoints academically and scientifically. It differs from writing an essay or an email or whatever the case may be that is not of a formal nature. Integrate theory with theory and results. Theoretical, that secondary knowledge should be indicated before you add primary knowledge. I've indicated earlier that you contribute towards the body of knowledge, and you must add information. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's not necessary to describe a phenomenon from square one. Again, Maslow's hierarchy, that is a well-known theory. You present it and you discuss it in 1 or 2 or 3 sentences. You don't have to start from scratch. And then emphasis should be placed on what is necessary, and it must be linked to your aims and objectives of the study. Right, when a topic is discussed in your study, different viewpoints from different sources must be compared. Synthesize and critique the information. It must be integrated. For example, 2 authors identify 5 components or characteristics of a phenomenon, but a 3rd author adds 2 more. So that is, I've indicated that to you earlier as well. Then, on citations, just have a look at this. Chetty in 2017 and Green in 2018 identified 2 types of field surveys, but Ndube in 2025, however, adds another field or another technique. Can you see? These 2 authors say the same thing, but Ndube adds more. Right. If 2 authors differ from each other, use this as point of discussion to form your own. I'll show you how I use AI in this regard. Okay, this is just another example about brown and green, and then in contrast to this black set the following. There is just more examples of what I explained to you now. Just note that the authors can be in the beginning of the sentence, or in this case, it is indicated at the end of the sentence. So any of these are acceptable. Right, meaningful headings I've indicated to you. Headings should be short and to the point. Don't ramble on long headings. It gets lost in translation and it doesn't look good in your table of contents. The title consists of certain concept or constructs or building blocks which are appearing on the research question and problem. In conceptualizing of the study within a particular theoretical framework, the research of the major concepts, constructs, and subconstructs must be explained. Comprehensive and use research applicable, be comprehensive and justify the facts. Use conclusions, prove your insight. You must provide a conclusion. As I said, in conclusions, no new added information. That is not allowed. Be accurate. Don't put your own opinion there. Make sure that it's backed up by literature and that you find that in scholarly articles. Tips to improve academic writing. Write to the level of the intended audience. Build on the past, get to the point, take a stand, provide supporting evidence, inform the audience, avoid literally cliches, show a little style, edit and keep on editing, and proofread. That is very important. I'll look at Grammarly, Quillbot, and Chatbot in a while. Okay, scientific writing tools that can help you. AI-based assistance, ChatGPT, Gemini, Quillbot, there's various ones. our students are extremely clever using AI. Now I'm going to warn you. You know that you need to provide a Turnitin report. Some of the information from any of those AI assistants is picked up as plagiarism. So be careful. Yes, it can help you, but be very careful. Don't write your whole document. I'll show you what I did and what is really very handy, and I use that quite often, and I teach my students as well. Also, in some of these, like Quillbot, it changes the nouns and it changes the verbs, but still the essence can get lost. So just be careful with that so that the meaning is still there. Don't trust the reference. Don't ask AI, like ChatGPT or what the case may be, to provide you with a definition, say, for example, on job satisfaction, and provide a reference. I did an experiment. The references are always wrong. So don't use that at all. Then what I did here is I took 3 definitions from 3 scholars. They are the gurus in the field, like emotional intelligence. The one was by Meyer and Solovey, Guy and Lee, and the other one. So what I did, I inserted all of these in ChatGPT, and I prompt ChatGPT to develop a definition for me on all of those. So what I said is I provided the definitions in my document, and then I said, according to these mentioned definitions, I came up with my own definition, and this is what I'm going to use in my study, especially handy for PhD. So here is my definition. Academic writing versus AI generating. It can help you to brainstorm, to improve your language, to summarize. If a paragraph is too long, you can ask it to summarize, and you can ask it for grammar checking. AI should not replace critical thinking. AI-generated references may be incorrect. I've mentioned that. Students remain responsible for academic integrity. Use it ethically and critically. Now, communication with stakeholders. In our case, we have the student, that's you. We have the supervisor and the student. So you write the content, we review it, and we provide input. Key building strong, positive relationships. Ask questions, show confidence and your desire to grow. Your supervisor is there to support you. Don't ever be too afraid to ask. That is how you grow and that you become a scientific scholar. Don't assume that we know that you are struggling. Now, different documents in where you can find academic writing, thesis reports, essays, proposals, journal articles. I'm not going to list all of them. Treat information critically. You need to read or treat material that can affect whether or not you have necessary information. Remember, you are the subject expert. Supervisors know exactly how to supervise, but it might be that it's a topic that we are not that familiar with. So you are the expert. You must convince us that you know exactly what you are talking about. The mechanics of academic writing ensure consistency of practice, spelling, grammar, proofreading, punctuation, use the correct referencing style, and the correct tenses and verbs. Subheadings, I indicated that to you. It mustn't be too lengthy. It must tell the reader exactly what is going on in that section. Then, this is a paragraph, what I've got here. The last sentence is Brown's analysis provides useful insights into the existing power relations between the army and the government at that time. Now, either one of these is a sentence that link the previous paragraph to the next paragraph. So I'm not going to read that to you. You can look at this on your own. So this is a golden thread throughout your document. Checklist before you do a submission. Did I answer the research question? Is my argument logical? Are my sources current and credible? Are all the citations included? Is the format correct? Did I proofread carefully? Is the writing concise and academic? Now, ethics in scientific writing, avoid research misconduct. You can be refused to study or banned from universities for a number of years if you act unethically. So please make sure that you do things from the beginning correctly. Don't use the shortcuts that might land you into trouble. Fabrication, making up data or results, falsification, manipulating data, image or methods, plagiarism, using others' words, data or ideas without proper credit. Even minor unethical choices damage credibility and trust. This is just, apologies, something on plagiarism. What is not plagiarism? If you use a direct quote, if you paraphrase, that is a skill that you must learn. If you summarize information and you are citing sources, what is plagiarism? Copy word for word. Then paraphrasing without credit, using someone else's ideas, submitting someone else's work. How to avoid plagiarism? It's unethical and breaks academic integrity. It's a serious offense. It damages your reputation and future opportunities, and it shows a lack of honesty and respect for others' work. Always cite your sources, keep track of references. When in doubt, cite. How to avoid plagiarism? I'm just emphasizing this again. Cite all sources correctly. Learn to paraphrase, keep track of your sources. Use quotation marks, use plagiarism checkers responsibly. Then academic writing improves with practice. You must read widely. Consider a large number of articles on your topic. Write regularly. Accept feedback positively. Revise your work carefully. Develop your own academic voice. I don't know if you can remember, but I remember when I was in high school, they gave us like an essay. It was a very lengthy paragraph. And then they said, you need to rewrite that in 100 words. I don't know if you can remember if you did it at school. So that is how you shorten information and you make sure that you keep the key information and knowledge. Academic writing. This was mentioned on the first slide, or second slide, sorry. It must be clear, focused, evidence, and structured. Key characteristics. Yes.
If you can, yes, you have 5 minutes left.
Yes.
To wrap up.
Yes,
Thank
I'm
you.
almost there. I'm almost there.
Thank you.
Key characteristics: clear, concise, focused, structured, evidence, and formal. Write widely and critical. Plan before you write. Use credible sources. Paraphrase and cite correctly. Seek feedback and revise, and proofread. Remember the golden thread, and that is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Prof. Van and Verben, for that presentation. I'm sure the students will find it very insightful. And thank you, for highlighting, the importance of reading widely and also keeping a golden thread when you're writing, and the emphasis that we must place the emphasis on what is necessary when we are writing. So therefore, I will open up the Q&A. I'm taking over the program for now on behalf of Ms. Munchu Carol, as she had to attend to another meeting. So I'll open up the Q&A. There were some questions for Ms. Napai in the chats. but some of them we had already addressed them. So Ms. Napai, the first question was, is it possible for students to do a session on RefWorks as in a group?
Yes, it is.
And then how would they go about that? Would they have to contact you to book that, or would they have to do it individually?
Maybe the department can make a booking similar to this one. Whoever attends then attends.
Okay.
If you can just
And
look at
then-
my diary and then just
Yes.
book me like a morning session from 10 to 12 or 10 to 11, just an hour and a half. It won't take long.
Thank you, Ms. Napai. So we were looking into that. We will book another session with Ms. Napai, and we will also announce it and make it available to all the students so they know when the next session will be. Then the next question that was in the chat was, I'm not sure the question was, can you select multiple disciplines at once?
I don't understand that question because
Yeah.
when you search on Salmon Discovery, you are working on different databases. Unless the student means when you go to discipline where you filter according to disciplines, that's your choice. It depends what your topic says. If it's a multidisciplinary topic that covers part of communication science and it goes into politics, you can do that. It allows for that. That's why you've got those filters. It does allow a multidisciplinary selection. But remember again that you're searching across discipline of databases as well.
All right, thank you. I hope that question was answered. And then the next question that is in the chat is, what is the difference between RefWorks and Mendeley? Do they work the same, or RefWorks has different applications?
They are the same. We used to subscribe to Mendeley, but it has, excuse me, it hasn't been developed. So what you do currently on the free software of Mendeley, you can't do on RefWorks because RefWorks has been upgraded. It never used to allow you to add a folder of references in a Word document or in a PDF document. So when we do the training on RefWorks, I can show you how you can move your library of references from Mendeley into RefWorks. There is that option. We are not supporting Mendeley anymore. We only support the RefWorks. And those other students that wish to also, register an account to EndNote, they are also welcome to do that. But they do the same thing. The only reason is that Mendeley, it's just a free software over there, which you can still continue using, but we're not supporting that. We support only the ones that we paid for, RefWorks and EndNote.
Thank you, Ms. Napai. So the other question that was here on the chat, so I've just moved away from it now. I just need to find it again. So there was a student who actually tried to go onto the RefWorks site to register, but then they received a screenshot. I think they wanted to know, I don't know whether I'm taking the right direction or not. Would you please clarify? I'm not sure if you saw that screenshot.
I saw that, but I can't read the screenshot. I don't know what the screenshot says. I mean, if you are a new registering on RefWorks, they will ask you different questions when you are newly registered. So there will be steps that you have to, to undergo before you create that account. So as soon as you put your MyUNISA email address and then you created the password, you register, there are certain things that you need to confirm with RefWorks, whether you are a researcher and whether you belong to this or that. So those are the individual questions that they ask for any newly registering person. So I wouldn't know what the thing, maybe she can just send me, he or she can just drop me an email, then I can check it out. But I can't see, I can't read that. I saw that.
Thank you, Ms. Napai. So would you please, the students, send Ms. Napai an email so that she can be able to assist you further. So we also have hands. I've noted 3 hands. The first
Yes, and
hand
let
is
me,
from...
sorry ma'am, there was another one where somebody, it's Ndumiso Memela, wanted to know about library links. So I don't know what you mean by library links, because when you go on the library's homepage, there are different tabs. You can either go to the catalog, to the library guides, or you can just conduct a search on someone. So I'm not sure what he or she means by library links. If he can clarify on the chat as well.
All right, Mr. Napai. So we will wait for them to clarify in the chat, or they can also reach out to you to just get clarity on that. So I saw a few hands being raised. If we can take the first hand, if you can come through, Vicky Lee, you can unmute and ask your question.
Oh, apologies. That is an error. My apologies.
All right, thank you. The second hand I've noted is Stephen Hlongwane. Hlongwane. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing your surname correctly.
Thank you, madam. You are pronouncing it correctly. Thank you so much. Good morning, colleagues. My question is that I'm sorry that I saw my supervisor, so I'm unable to speak freely. My question is that, is it possible to have a direct call, or do I have to do an appointment through email? That is my first question. I really appreciate the workshop, because it's helping me to get the sources as requested, to have a lot of sources. So that's my question, because I want to, the presentation was fast, so I was not able to follow where we go for communication science resources. So I just want to have one-on-one session for that one. Thank you.
Yes, you need to make an appointment, because I'm not, I do attend things like this, and I'm not attending to my emails. So if I go back to my emails, then if you come through, because I'm based at the main library in Pretoria, if you are around Pretoria, or you're welcome to come through to the library, but you can just drop me an email and make an appointment.
All right. See the second hand. If we can take Vundla, you can come through. You can unmute.
Okay, good morning, everyone. My question is, how do I change in-text references, manually change them? Because I struggle with RefWorks. For example, if I want to change "and" or if I want to add something else.
I would need to see what you mean by changing in-text references, because remember, you call up your RefWorks, and then you insert your citation. As you are doing that, it pops into where your cursor is sitting on your document. I'm not sure what you mean when you want to change it. What do you mean by changing the citation style? Because that you have to do before you insert the citation. So I would need to see what you're trying to change before I can.
I mean, editing.
In the document.
Yes. For example, if I want to change "and" to whatever, or if I want to add, because usually it was like I think it was the last presenter who said if the sources are many, you need to add the names if the first time to reference them. But as you go, you need to add it has to be at L. But with RefWorks, it will say at L. Then now I want to manually change and add the other names.
No, it depends on the style that you have chosen. So if your referencing style that you are trying to do an in-text citation doesn't do the et al., you'll have to change from your RefWorks account, because you won't be able to edit a style that doesn't have an et al. So you must go back to the referencing styles and check the ones that do have an et al., so that when you do your in-text citation, it allows that. If you do it manually, because it's not that style that you are using, it will disappear as soon as you create the bibliography. It won't work.
Prof, do you also want to come through? I see your response in the chat.
Yeah, I'm very old school, so I'm not using the RefWorks for several reasons. So what I do is that, especially my students are using the RefWorks, I go to that specific citation and I just remove the other authors and I change it to et al. So that's what I'm doing, but it might be the complete wrong information I'm giving you.
No, it's correct, Prof. They have to do it from RefWorks itself, so that when you do your in-text citation, it has actually recognized what you've done. Because when you do your in-text citation, you are calling up your RefWorks manual onto the side of your work. So you have to go and change it from RefWorks. I think that's the correct way of doing it. Otherwise, if you change it in your document, it will just disappear.
Thank you, Prof. and Mr. Anabai. There's another three hands that we have. Gordon, you can come through. I've noted the questions in the chats. We'll attend to them. Gordon, you can come through.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. And thank you so much for the organizers of this program, for the powerful and the presenters. Thank you so much for the informative information and the productive meeting that we've just had. I really appreciate. Coming to the last presenter, Prof, you're talking about ChatGPT, use of ChatGPT, and also plagiarism. As much as I'm aware of the consequences that can be there, if you misuse them, I still have the responsibility to use them as a student or as someone who's also in the academics, so to say. Is there any, I know, but I'm not sure, I'm not so sure, maybe you'll be providing us with such information, or just to ask to say, do we have policies on the percentages, maybe for use of ChatGPT or systems that can be there, and also plagiarism, just to say maybe the percentage that you say you are not actually going to use so much, or percentage maybe 25%, or maybe 20%, and what have you. So I just want to find out if there are such policies, and I know maybe they'll be shared to us. That would be much appreciated. Thank you so much.
Yes. Can I answer you on that one? It's a difficult one. We say that preferably it must be under 20%. So it also depends on the discipline. If you take public admin, for example, they are using a lot of acts. Now, you can't paraphrase an act is an act. So it depends on the discipline. So what we do, if we look at the Turnitin report, we can see exactly the percentage of what source has been used. So that is, when you look at the Turnitin report, make sure that it's not more than 1%. If that can give you a guideline, there's not a policy that says that, but I'm part of the colloquium committee and we send it back. If it's more than 20%, we send it back to students and say that they have to rework it because there's too much plagiarism. Now, we can't deny the benefits of AI. It really helps us a great deal. If I, for example, have a table and the heading is quite lengthy, I ask ChatGPT to shorten the heading for me, and I can't see anything wrong with it. You can also write a paragraph, for example. You've done the draft, and you can ask ChatGPT, for example, to make sure it's of an academic nature. That you can do, but it mustn't change the content significantly. So I can't give you a policy on that. They're all busy with policies on academic integrity and AI, and I see that there has been training courses on that. But I haven't attended any of those because it's more for students. But I mean, we can't deny the fact that AI is a wonderful tool. What is also just a hint. Say, for example, you use ChatGPT, okay? You took your paragraph, you ran it through ChatGPT and you say, please condense this paragraph, it's too long. Then it's doing that for you. Then you take that paragraph and you go to Gemini and ask Gemini or Quillbot to make sure that it is not, like it's a second platform that goes through your document. So it doesn't reflect ChatGPT only. So that can help. But from my experience, Quillbot is very nice with paraphrasing, but very often the meaning gets lost. So just be careful of that. I hope I addressed your question.
Definitely, yes, Prof. Thank you so much. I still remain my responsibility, like you're saying, but just in terms of academics, I just have to know if there are things that are put across for us to be following as students or as academics so that you can also follow that. But thank you so much as we go. I know AI, there are lessons that are on that as well. I once attended another one at UNISA, the campus in Pretoria. So I know there are so many things that are happening around. So we'll keep learning, like you said. Thank you so much. Much appreciated.
Thank you. So we have 3 hands. Due to time, we'll just take these last 3 hands. For Miso Rapula, you can come through, and then after that will be Tsokofatso Make.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Colleagues, good morning. Yes, I have got 2 questions on when can we put an opinion on when the prof mentioned the descriptive and critical, when it says maybe Smith identified 3 leadership styles, and there on the critical says although Smith mentioned or identified 3 leadership styles, did not address this and that. Isn't it that then it's now an opinion because I have read it and I found a gap that he did not address that? And on the issue of another one, when you say, when comparing 2 authors, you can compare them and after that you can put in an opinion. And in terms of opinion, you are not going to reference it. And subsequent to that, she said, you can only put an opinion when you are a PhD student. So maybe clarity on that, on those 2 questions.
Okay, I understand. With the NQF level 9, that is master students, they must be providing descriptive information because we need to see that the candidate can conduct research. But especially on PhD level, content must be critiqued and synthesized. So that is what we are looking for. So if you cite 2 or 3 authors and one of them is contradictory information, then you provide that and you say, you agree with this or you disagree with this. So then you put in your opinion, that's 100% fine, because remember, you provided the literature. So then the own voice is very important. So I know you had 2 questions. What is the other question? If I missed it, I'm very sorry.
I think it will be that one of comparing 2 authors. As and when you said this author said this, the other said this, then this is now my own understanding, or this is my conclusion based on what these 2 authors, who am I agreeing with?
Yes, that's perfectly fine. Because then we can see, are you busy with your master's or your PhD?
But we are still on honors now.
Honors, okay, yes. So for honors, that's perfectly fine. But for honors, we more or less look at the descriptive. So you provide the information. Whenever you put your own opinion, we want that more on M and D levels. But for honors, you must put the references. I hope it makes sense.
Okay, sure.
Thank you. Thank you, Prof. But the student can also confirm with their supervisor on how on how they can be able to do the integration of sources as well. And then the next hand is from Tshegofatso Make. You can come through.
All right, thank you and good morning. I just need to double check something that I should be aware of, but sometimes life happens. On my citation settings on the RefWorks Citation Manager, I've got various institutional referencing styles, but I want to know between these three, CMS APA 7th edition referencing style and the CMS Harvard referencing style, as well as the UNISA CAS Harvard referencing style. Which one is it applicable to the Department of Communication Science? Currently, I know I've been using CEMS Harvard referencing style. So I just need to know which one.
That I cannot determine because your department or the supervisor can also advise you on that. Those are college-specific referencing style. CEMS is for the College of Economics Management, and the CAS, it's the College of Accounting Sciences. And there's another one for SPL, the College of the Business School. So they have actually embedded their own, they went to RefWorks and changed some of the things that will suit their college. So those are college-based. So you have to communicate with your supervisor, or the department must advise which of those styles are appropriate for you. Because remember, these are accounting, business. They may not suit your social science, APA styles. So you need to confirm that with your supervisor or the department as such.
Thank you, Ms. Napai. So the last hand that we're going to take is Motsipe. You can come through and unmute.
Good evening, everyone involved. I will just skip the protocol for the purposes of time. As I can see, we are already 11. We are at 11 o'clock. I want to ask a question related to plagiarism and the Turnitin score. Right? I cite, let's say, 15 authors, right? Or let's say 20. And then some they say less than 1%, some they say 1%, and so forth and so forth. Now let's say others, those that say 2% or 1%, and cumulatively, they get to something maybe like 30%. Okay, including these ones that say minus 1% and so forth and so forth. But there is no score that is more than 2% in terms of similarity. So similarity is 2%, 1%, minus 1%. But because I've used so many, I've cited so many, or I've used so many sources, when you aggregate these scores, then they shoot up to something like maybe 30%. As markers, do you consider the fact that this student has done extensive research, and as a result, his plagiarism score has gone up, not because it is too similar to a single author, but because when you collect, when you add all these text that you used, the minus 1%, the 1% and 2% and so on. So am I going to be penalized? Am I going to be punished for reaching, let's say, 30% because I've used so many sources?
Can I come in here to address that?
Sorry.
All right. What we do is that we look at the collective percentage, but we look at the scores for each individual reference. So if we see it's 1 and less than 1, but all of those collectively add up to 37% or what the case may be. So we go and look at each one individually. So if it is very low, it's not a challenge at all. All right.
Okay, so in other words, I'm not going to be punished if it is, let's say, 40%, but for as long as for each source that I used, the similarity index is minus 1%, 2%. Am I correct?
Yes, but 2% is a bit too high already.
Oh, okay. But minus to 1%, minus 2%, it's fine.
Yes, 100% fine. Just ask your supervisor as well.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. and Ms. Napai for, attending to all those questions from the students. And I also want to thank all the students for engaging and attending today. And I just wanted to also add to Mutsipe's question in terms of Turnitin. So we will have another session on RefWorks and Turnitin. So with Ms. Erica, she'll be able to explain on how to interpret your similarity index. So please attend that session. We will also announce it and also send SMSs so that you do not miss that session. So today's session has been recorded. We will share, you can come back to the same platform. You'll be able to access the recording. We will also share it under announcements, and we will ask Ms. Tlzipi and Prof to share their slides with us so that we can be able to share those with you as well. So I'll be handing over to Prof. Makanganise just to do the closing remarks and vote of thanks. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Program Director. Thank you for the opportunity that you have given to me to render the closing remarks. And I really also thank you for taking over from Ms. Moncho, who had to attend to issues very quickly. Mine is very, easy because I need to give the closing remarks and also thanks to our presenters who are here. So let me first acknowledge and also, give gratitude to our Deputy COD who was with us to give the opening remarks, who also reminded us as scholars and also future scholars about the, the use of credible sources, especially in the age of AI and the ChatGPT, where we've got a lot of AI, hallucinations that are taking place, or non-existent references that are being produced by AI, which we should actually take note of those. And I think that point was alluded to by all the presenters. I would also like to thank our departmental library personnel, Professor Mola, who is here with us. Thank you so much for gracing this meeting and also for being part of the organizing team to make this workshop a success today, and also for introducing our speakers. Thank you so much, Prof. To Mrs. Napai, thank you so much for this informative training that you have given to us. And I know that this was necessitated from the workshop that we had, the MND week workshop that we had, to say that you didn't get much time to actually demonstrate the use of our library resources, and how students can actually access all the resources that are needed in order for them to write their research and also their research proposals. And I might say that this is very informative and very commendable, because resources or library resources, they play a very vital role in terms of actually doing our research. They serve like our building blocks or building resources. It's like when you're building a house, you need the resources
in order for you to build a house. Otherwise, you will end up building from the AI hallucinated sources rather than actually getting the concrete, you know, and academically, you know, published articles and also books that are supposed to be used. Thank you for taking us through the demonstrations. I think they were quite informative, those demonstrations, and they will help us to get the credible sources, because that is the point that we must emphasize also to our MND students who are here and also our honors students who are here, that let us use, you know, credible sources for your work to be acceptable and also commendable. So, and also thank you, Ms. Napal, for, you know, educating us about the Boolean operators. We didn't know about that. And, you know, we're going out of this meeting understanding how that works when we are actually, you know, searching for articles and also resources online. Prof. Sumay, thank you so much for also reminding us about the importance of academic writing style, which really forms basis of academic or proper academic writing. And this is something that most of us, you know, we struggle with when we start the academic life, because we don't not know, or most students do not know how to actually write, you know, academically. And you just hear your supervisor say, this is not the proper academic style. But thank you so much for taking us through all those slides and informative, you know, presentation that you have done in terms of using the formal tone for writing, and also, you know, to construct logical arguments, the tenses, and many other issues that you have actually alluded to, which we should help us, and also especially our students, to write their proposals and also writing their research. And also to the team of organizers, thank you so much for putting this together. And I know that it was not easy. We had time to discuss, you know, through emails, and also, you know, to put this together. Prof. Mbata, thank you so much. I saw he was here with us as well, who is the coordinator for honors, and then myself as the coordinator for MND, and then Mr. Sigenu and Ms. Mtlanga, who is now the program director, and also Professor Mula. Thank you so much, colleagues, for putting this whole program together and the workshop together that is informative and engaging to our students, and also to our colleagues in the department. I saw a number of you joining this you know, workshop, the library training workshop. Thank you so much for, you know, making time to join. And we know that you are pressed with marking and other academic activities that you are busy with, but you made time to also encourage your students to come in and attend this workshop. To our honors and also MND students, a big thank you for attending in numbers. We saw you, and we believe that this workshop will not go into waste. And we have already, you know, attested to that through your engagement, the zeal that you are showing, and the questioning that you're actually doing. You want to know how to do it right. You want how to get it right. Thank you so much for all the engagements that you have done and you have made. And I saw one of the students, I think Vuyo, who is saying that I'm struggling, I can't grasp this, and so on. Do not worry, we're still going to have a lot of these engagements. We want to ensure that you get as much support as needed for you to do things right, and then you get the correct way of writing academically without, you know, necessarily, you know, missing the mark in terms of writing the proper way. Thank you so much. And as a final word from me, I will say that more hangouts are coming, especially for MND students. I saw also a number of you in the platform here. We're going to have hangouts with MND students where all these issues will be ironed out. We will deal with all these issues so that you can get the much needed support for you to finish, if possible, your master's and your doctoral studies in time, not in 7 years or 10 years. Thank you so much, Ms. Mtlanga, and over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Makanise. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Thank you, Ms. Napai. Thank you, Prof. Samay. We will see each other again in the next training session. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy your day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Yeah.